what I need the common regular people to understand. Nobody, and I mean nobody, no group has power or authority that you don't give them. That's why I went to asking, what is a right versus a privilege? Why do I have a right to drive, but it's a privilege for me to have a license to drive? If I lose my license, I don't lose my ability to drive. And for anybody to take a right from you, it has to be done by force, or you give it away, giving up your rights. So if you got the right to the freedom of speech and somebody can come arrest you or sue you for what you say, is it a right or is it a privilege? Because even if they arrest you or sue you, you still can speak. If they cut your tongue out, it probably is going to be harder. So what's the difference between a privilege and a right? And they finna give some fucking generic basic. I'm talking on the reality level, on the floor of reality. But look right there, where it says law at the end of this first paragraph. Why does it tell you to see legal? It's gonna take you to a whole different level of language.
Right, because law and legal is not even the same thing.
So they laws are private. You can see what private is, but not what fuck our laws. Okay, tailing off of that. Why don't they teach law in school?
Because they charge for that. You got to.
No, but look, that because everybody is forced to live under the law.
In school, in the schools you pay for.
I know.
They teach legal.
But why would you not tell the people the rule, for lack of a better phrase, the rule of the king? Everybody should know that if you look at the king, queen over 3 seconds, you could get your head cut off by it. Why not tell everybody that? The problem is that they add laws every day and no one knows, but then they have a clause in it that says ignorance of the law is not an excuse, literally penalizing you because you didn't know something. They expect you to know, but they did not teach it to you.
The difference between a right and a privilege is a fundamental concept in law and society, often debated and sometimes blurred, but with distinct meanings. Right, inherent and inalienable. Rights are generally considered fundamental entitlements that belong to all individuals by virtue of their humanity or citizenship. They are often seen as inherent, meaning they are not granted by any authority and cannot be taken away or denied without due process. Universal. Rights typically apply to everyone equally. Protected by law. Legal rights are usually enshrined in constitutions, statutes, or international agreements, and are enforceable in courts of law. Examples include freedom of speech, religion, and the right to due process. Creates duties. A right implies a corresponding duty on others, individuals, institutions, or the government, to respect, protect, or fulfill that right. For instance, the right to free speech means others have a duty not to interfere with someone's ability to express themselves. Difficult to restrict. While rights can have limitations, e.g., freedom of speech doesn't protect inciting violence, these restrictions are generally narrowly defined and require strong justification. Privilege. Granted and conditional. Privileges are special advantages, opportunities, or immunities that are granted by an authority, like the government, and can be given, taken away, or restricted based on certain conditions. Specific and limited. Privileges are not universal. They are typically available only to certain individuals or groups who meet specific criteria. Earned or conferred. Unlike rights, privileges often need to be earned or qualified for. Revocable. Authorities can revoke privileges if the conditions for their granting are no longer met, or if an individual abuses the privilege. Examples. A driver's license is a common example of a privilege. It's granted by the state, subject to conditions, age, passing tests, obeying traffic laws, and can be revoked. Other examples include professional licenses, like medical or legal licenses, or access to certain facilities. Key differences summarized. Feature, right, privilege. Origin, inherent, natural, or constitutional. Granted by an authority. Scope, universal, applies to all. Specific, applies to certain individuals, groups. Earned, not earned, exists by virtue of being. Often earned or qualified for. Revocable, generally inalienable, restricted only with strict due process. Can be given, taken away, or restricted. Implication, creates duties in others to respect. No inherent duty on others to provide. It's important to note that while the distinction is clear in theory, in practice, the lines can sometimes blur, and what is considered a right versus a privilege can be a matter of ongoing legal and societal debate.
Monkey shit. Monkey shit. Let's go back up. Let me show you some things. All right, first off, when they said inherent, and inalienable, right? So generally considered fundamental entitlements that belong to all individuals by virtue of their humanity. That's where the sentence should have stopped. It said, or citizenship, that gave it away. Citizenship is granted. You could be deported. You could be exiled. Even saying sovereign, you could be deported. You could be exiled. Because if it says it's inherent, that means it's gonna happen. When it says inalienable, mean it's not gonna be separated from you. Like I said, the only way to take rights or lose rights is for them to be taken by force or you give them away. Meaning, everybody got the right to breathe, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's
If everybody got the right to breathe, but if somebody choke another person out, they took away their right to breathe, right? If a person decide to jump in a lake with concrete pants on and sink to the bottom, knowing what's gonna happen, they gave up their right to breathe. It's not a privilege. Let's go to something like speech. They said in the Bill of Rights, the very first one that they bright minds lit up on paper said you have the freedom of speech and assembly, right? You have the right. It's labeled under the Bill of Rights. You have the right to freedom of speech and assembly. If a person has to take it by force, this country is set up in an authoritarian state because people give them the authority. You can't tell me that 2 million people, military, law, whatever, and lock up 330 million people. They gave them that authority. So when you talk about, let's go to something like driving. Why is driving or a skill that you could do, like driving, not a right? Why is it called a privilege?
because you got an ID card. You signed your name on that dotted line.
So they can take the card. They can't take my ability to drive.
Right, but that's where you get into the difference between law and legal. It's only three laws. That's do not hurt anybody. That's one law. You're not supposed to hurt somebody, so you can go to jail for hurting somebody. And don't damage their property, and don't break your contracts. I mean the law of the land, not the universal law. I mean the laws of the land, not the maritime law.
Those are all suggested privileges. I'll explain why. They have something called eminent domain. It's illegal or against the law to take someone else's property unless the government with authority given says, hey, we gonna take your property.
Right. Hold on. Keep your thought. I ain't cutting you off. I just wanted to interject with this part I got highlighted because that's exactly what you're saying right now. The bottom of this sentence, it say, because you remember you said the humanity and citizenship. So they saying they cannot be taken away or denied, but then they say without due process. So they can take it as long as they give you your due process first. My bad to cut you. Go ahead.
So now, even spinning off that, due process. Due is a subjective word. Even process is a subjective word. Monkey shit. Because if you're saying it's due process, meaning it's a time gonna be allotted for this process. It's due. This process need to happen. In other words, right? Yeah. So I guess another terminology of due would be fair. So that in itself,
like my rent due on the first.
And again, due is subjective. It's a suggestion because people have different meanings for the word due. D-U-E, dues. You can either get your just dues, you can pay your dues, your rent due process. But the fact that they use that word tells you that it's subjective, meaning even with the laws you quoted a while ago, right? They can come and take your property. You can be legal, paid for, upstanding, honest. They can come and take it because they want to build a railroad or something, a stadium, football stadium. What was one of the other ones you said? Not break a contract, right? If that's the case, why do they have a system set up to void a contract?
Yeah, I mean, it's ways to do it. It's the thing is, the main thing about all of them is with like malicious intent. So that's what shit too. That's now it's a whole nother group of words that then got added to it.
What is malicious? And because you gotta understand when you say, if I say something is malicious, It's somebody else to say, no, it's not. But they, again, my problem is they teach none of this.
So for example of that would be the shit I covered the other day with Derek Thompson, and basically that's what his lawyer was trying to argue, the maliciousness of him not hitting his, or you know what I mean, of him crashing into them girls, is that he was trying to say, oh, he didn't maliciously do it. Basically, it was an accident, is what he was trying to say.
They say you got freedom of speech, but then turn around and say you cannot say fire in a theater, right?
You got freedom of speech, but it's still limitations to it.
Then it's not freedom.
You can't threaten to kill somebody.
Monkey shit. It's not freedom. And then what is a threat? What point is a warning transferred to being a threat?
I don't know, because I done heard plenty of people say, "I kill you" and shit. I don't see each one
Why
of
did they
them
say
locked up.
Why did they say it? You can pick an example. It can be made up. Don't matter.
Shit, like a baby mama.
Baby mama tell baby daddy she'll kill it.
Yep.
Is it a warning or a threat?
I don't know.
And how do we decipher?
Or is a threat a warning? Is a threat a warning?
Could be. But today a warning could be a threat. That's why I'm wondering at what point how do we define that specific example? Somebody saying I'm gonna kill you. Because you have to go into context. All of the context is subjective. You have to go into state of mind. You don't know what they think. Again, subjective. How do we decipher between warning and threat? Because see, all of this shit that it's saying, guarantee you it's gonna be subjective. Guarantee you. So I'm gonna make my channel the English language will fuck you up, because all of this shit is subjective. To me, it's the same way that when people say beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
So, in essence, a warning is a heads up about something that could happen, often outside the control of a person giving the warning. A threat, on the other hand, is a declaration of hostile action that will be taken by the person issuing it unless certain conditions are not met, designed to instill fear or compel action.
Warning for somebody to allow the recipient to take preventative measures. So, what was a threat? A threat is a declaration of a hostile action that will be taken by the person issuing it. Let's start right there. Both of them are stated verbally, right? Well, in most cases, context can be a warning.
It would have to be a message from one to another.
Okay, I'm gonna kill you.
Right. Or the storm gonna kill you.
But nobody has control over the storm.
So that would be a warning compared to what you have control over being a threat.
Say hello to the bad guy. Hello. Say hello to the bad guy. Hello. They say the good die young. Nice guy, skinny slash, call me the bad guy. You my #1 fan. Say hello to the bad guy. Hello. Say hello to the bad guy. Hello. They say the good die young. Nice guy, skinny slash, call me the bad guy. You my #1
I am the
fan.
flesh, I am the God. What's the prosecutor's proposition? I'm feeling optimistic. What was the point again? I think I might have missed it. I'm steady growing, but slowing must be your specialty. I must have made it, my vision then got the best of me. Paranoia rising, the shoes wearing wires. These niggas snitching in style, it really went viral. All I do is play with fire, I'm a pyro. And all you do is play with death, you suicidal. I can do magic, what you think is what you manifest. No biggie, but I'm big on life after death. I think I'm slipping, my mind been playing tricks on me. Say I'm the bad guy, or say hello to Tony.